Well, I come to you in this segment with tears gushing down my face to say that, ladies and gentlemen, after months of investigating Joe Biden desperately, James Comer and House Republicans, they got it. The smoking gun. No, they didn't. This is probably one of the most embarrassing flops for James Comer yet. So as I'm sure you are aware, House Republicans have been investigating Joe Biden for quite some time now, desperately trying to find proof of corruption. They say he was bribed without evidence. They say he was making policy decisions to benefit his son's business ventures without evidence, just throwing anything that they can at the wall. And after a while, because of this, the consensus in kind of the reasonable world and among most of the media became, okay, Republicans, until you actually start backing up your allegations with evidence, we're not going to take you seriously. We're not going to pay a whole lot of attention to this. So I guess to try to get that attention back, James Comer started making these very serious announcements every so often about the weekly smoking gun. This is it. We got it. And he's always very grim, very concerned. He's not messing around. And thus far, every time the reveal is more embarrassing for him than it is for Joe Biden, and this time is no exception. I'll first show you a part of the video James Comer released making the announcement, then I'll walk through why it's completely and totally ridiculous.
Today, the House Oversight Committee is releasing subpoenaed bank records that show Hunter Biden's business entity, Owasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. This wasn't a payment from Hunter Biden's personal account, but an account for his corporation that received payments from China and other shady corners of the world.
So if you take him at face value, that sounds super serious, right? Joe Biden's getting money funneled to him through Hunter Biden by the Chinese government. It was a really good Midas Touch piece written by Troy Matthews debunking this whole nonsense announcement that we'll walk through it. Starts, Comer presented bank records showing monthly payments of $1,380 from Hunter's company, Owasco PC, to Joe Biden in 2018 when he held no public office. House Republicans have said that Owasco PC has received funds from the Chinese government, but those payments have already been identified from an email leaked from the investigation into Hunter Biden's laptop, the laptop from hell, that show they were reimbursement payments from Hunter Biden to his father for a Ford Raptor truck. According to the email records, Hunter made 3 payments of $1,380 to Joe, totaling $4,140 after Joe purchased the truck for Hunter when he was reportedly low on cash. So once again, Joe Biden was helping out a family member, then it got paid back. So now we're back at zero. Biden's made no profit. And you can see some of the documentation for what's being outlined up next to me on screen. I'll put this article in the description of the YouTube video if you want to get a closer look. And the Washington Post has also confirmed this, writing the 3 payments of $1,380 that occurred in September, October, and November of 2018, nearly 2 years after Biden had left the vice presidency, were actually for a 2018 Ford Raptor truck Joe Biden had purchased that Hunter Biden was using, according to an email verified by a Washington Post forensic analysis. Then jumping back to the Midas Touch piece that ends it perfectly, House Republicans will now once again have to deal with the reverberations of the giant thud this new claim will make when it crashes to the ground, as it seems the only thing they are continually able to prove is that Joe Biden is a loving, supportive father. And it's such a great point as James Comer goes through a bunch of financial records of the Bidens. There's actually less there that could even be misconstrued as suspicious than I'd expect. I feel like you go through enough bank records and you could distort something to look strange, especially with the commitment or lack thereof to honesty of people like James Comer. But as Troy Matthews pointed out, all they've been able to prove is Joe Biden has been there for his family members multiple times, and then the family member paid him back. Again, back to zero. And again, the other supposed bombshell they brought forward was a loan repayment from James Biden to Joe Biden. So how this could be a part of a scheme to enrich Joe Biden when he's just getting paid back for a zero interest loan he gave to his brother, I really don't know. And the same thing applies here. Biden helped out his son when his son didn't have much money, was in a really tough time, and then his son was paying that back over a few months. Also, again, Biden was not in any position of power when that happened. and it was like $4,000. I saw a great post on X by Ron Filipkowski that said, it's clear that when Hunter paid his dad that $4,140 in 2018, the Chinese government knew that he would be president in 2021, and that $4,000 laundered through a truck loan was going to open up a lot of doors for them on policy. Comer has cracked the case. Treason. You would think at some point they would give up after the constant embarrassment. It's getting so bad that even Ron DeSantis, or Ron DeSanctimonious, as Trump calls him, is saying that Republicans should give up. This is from The Hill. GOP presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suggested Sunday that the House GOP focus on issues voters care about instead of an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, arguing that it will likely not lead anywhere. And it does highlight a part of this DeSantis interview with Meet the Press where he says he thinks that Biden's corrupt, but just doesn't think the inquiry will go anywhere and they should focus on other issues. But if he actually thought Biden was corrupt, obviously he would want them to continue with the investigation and take Biden down. And we all would want that, right? If he's actually corrupt, yeah, take him down, or accountability, whatever. But it's just not there. He's not actually corrupt. By the way, I'll remind you of a clip we looked at last week of Republican Congresswoman Lisa McClain saying this.
Have you been able to identify any actual policy changes that Joe Biden made as a result of getting money from China?
The short answer is no. That's what we're trying to get to right now. That's why Jamie Comer, or Chairman Comer, is requesting those documents that the FBI knew he had.
So no evidence on that piece, no evidence on a direct payment. I'm going to float something a little crazy, Republicans, so get ready. Maybe, just maybe, the reason that you keep searching and searching and searching and just can't find what you're looking for is because maybe what you're looking for doesn't exist. I know that for so long you've been repeating, Joe Biden's corrupt, Joe Biden's corrupt, Joe Biden's corrupt, that it seems like it just has to be true. But it looks like it's not. Rudy Giuliani tried to uncover dirt on Biden for years and couldn't find anything. His stooge, Lev Parnas, eventually wrote a letter to House Republicans saying, guys, it's a wild goose chase. Giuliani directed me to look for evidence of Biden's corruption. I did it for a super long time. It's just not there. Then Trump's own DOJ found no merit in the original allegation. Then Senate Republicans looked into it and didn't find evidence of Biden's wrongdoing. Now House Republicans are doing the same thing and humiliating themselves day after day. Maybe it's just not there. Here's Democrat Robert Garcia summing it up nicely.
There is no evidence. I mean, we've made that clear over and over again. Remember that all the evidence that the Republicans try to bring forward are essentially discredited Rudy Giuliani conspiracy theories. And so this is a tinfoil hat committee of just a bunch of conspiracy theorists with zero evidence to the president.
But despite all the facts that we walked through, they're reportedly still planning on trying to charge forward and impeach Joe Biden. And James Comer, during a recent interview, said that his moderate Republican colleagues are changing their minds and are now in favor of it. But the reason he cites as to why they're changing their minds is hilarious.
Yeah, and they're talking about politically exposed person, PEP, which is Hunter Biden. I don't understand why you have had to take so long to actually get a vote to impeach or get this impeachment inquiry going. Do you feel that you have the votes within the House right now to get a formal impeachment inquiry?
I do. And I had a reporter ask, well, what's changed? You know, because the press has been writing we didn't have the votes forever. And I said, well, I'll tell you one thing that changed. We were in Washington, D.C. for 10 weeks, and there are about 15 or 20 moderates that they really worry about what CNN says or what the Washington Post writes. And they were getting in their head, Maria. But a great thing happened during Thanksgiving. The members went home. Many of them for the first time and circulated for the first time in over 10 weeks. And they met people in Walmart and people on Main Street. And they're like, what in the world have the Bidens done to receive millions and millions of dollars from our enemies around the world? And did they not pay taxes on it? So they heard from their constituents, yes, we want you to move forward. We want to know the truth. And we expect the Bidens to be held accountable for public corruption. So we are unified at a time when I think it's no secret our conference is broken in a lot of ways.
So I guess at Walmart and on Main Street, moderate Republicans were just overwhelmed with people saying Biden needs to be impeached. Yeah, right, James. And then he says that Biden needs to be held accountable for his corruption. Yes, if there was actually corruption to hold him accountable for. And the sad thing is, even though you and I see this as just a huge failure for Republicans, isn't it embarrassing? For James Comer and for Republicans, it's actually not, because Comer, he's not trying to actually prove that Joe Biden is corrupt and actually get the smoking gun. He's trying to create enough headlines and spread enough allegations that some portion of the country starts believing it, or if not believing it fully, at least starting to have some level of concern about it, asking questions. Maybe Biden's corrupt, I don't know. It's all an attempt to muddy the waters and make Trump's potential crimes that actually have evidence to back them up seem less significant because of this mountain of allegations Republicans have created out of thin air against Biden. Now, I want to make sure that I do one other thing in this segment, and this clip is so good. I want to contrast Republicans' focus in the House with Democrats. When Democrats had the majority, they had very different policy priorities than that of Republicans. And here is Hakeem Jeffries reminding us of that fact.
Now, Teddy Roosevelt had the square deal. FDR had the New Deal. Truman had the fair deal. What President Biden, Democrats, all of us have accomplished in the last few years is a big deal. It's a big deal. Now, Joe Biden says it a different way. I left out a word, y'all, but it's a big deal because we run to win, we win to govern, but we govern to get big things done and make life better for everyday Americans. And under the leadership of Joe Biden, Annie Kuster, Chris Pappas, Senator Shaheen, Democrats are just getting started. Just getting started. And we're going to work hard to finish the job.
There we go. Actual policy achievements or nonsense political stunts. Pretty easy choice, at least for me in 2024. Before we go, don't forget to become a member at lukebeasley.com/membership to get the daily bonus show Monday through Friday. Plus, follow me on Threads at Luke Beasley Official, Instagram at Luke Beasley Official, X at Luke P. Beasley, and sign up for the Beasley Brief, a daily morning newsletter that summarizes the previous day's events by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/brief. And I'll talk to you all next time.